been a very long time since I played Kaiju Kozmo. Back then, Dark Destroyer for me was only a gold rare, and all my monsters were that disgusting gold nastiness all over my cards foiling. It was gross. But now the deck has finally come back to nearly full power. The only thing we were missing now is 2 more copies of Teleport, which, in hindsight, now is not entirely impossible to come back, because I never thought Destroyer would be back. I never thought we'd see Destroyer at 3 and Slumber at 3. I honestly never thought I'd see those cards back, but with the new Super Quantum stuff coming out after not too long, it is not impossible that we could get it back to 3 and have this deck at full power. So, without further ado, let's get into Kaiju Kozmo, one of the most requested decks I've seen on the channel. So, first off, for the monsters, 3 Destroyer. I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's Lone Fire. It's untargetable. It's big. It's an allure target. It's so good. Okay, so this build is a lot different than the other ones. For one thing, I'm no longer playing 3 Slip Rider, at least for the Kaiju build. I'm playing 1 Delta Shuttle. So for a few reasons, it's more of a utility versus an actual card you're supposed to summon. You do this, you make this so that way if you have Slumber and this with any pilot in your hand other than Farm Girl, you can summon this, Slumber the board after you dump a Farm Girl, then summon Sword Trooper, make Farm Girl, and you're guaranteed the Farm Girl plus another pilot. So this is actually more of an extender than an actual card or a body on the field. 2 Forerunner and 1 Walker. You don't play Eclipser anymore, at least for Kaiju Kozmo, because it does not float into a monster on the field, which is the more important. It's more important to get Farm Girl on the field with the Kaiju than it is for any other play to make. Kaiju Slumber plus Farm Girl is almost an OTK. So yeah, you actually really cut down on the ships because there's a lot more ways to get to them nowadays. So for the pilots, 3 copies of Farm Girl. Okay, so before you guys comment, yes, I'm aware I'm running a disgusting nasty gold rare. I hate it. I hate running it, but I don't have a 3rd Ultra on me. All my other copies are in the bank, put away with the other deck profiles I've made over the years. But this one is, you gotta play 3 Farm Girl. You gotta play 3 of it. You don't really want to open it or draw it, but you have to if you Slumber and then have nothing else. So you're guaranteed a ton of damage if you can resolve Farm Girl plus Slumber, or any board wipe. So 2 Strawman, a similar situation. You don't really want to draw it. You'd rather summon it off of Destroyer or have it float into it. That's one of your last floating chains. You only play 1 Tin Can. If you're going Tin Can Pass, then you're losing, which is not good for this deck. This deck, blind second, and this was your optimal turn 1 play. So you only really summon this if you're going first, which is unlikely. For the rest of the pilots, they're all 1-ofs, 1 Dark Lady, 1 Wicked Witch, Good Witch, and Sword Trooper. These are just lower monsters you can float into. You don't really want to open either Farm Girl or Slip Rider, or excuse me, Strawman. You'd rather draw into either any of these 5. So, yeah. So for the Kaiju monsters, or excuse me, for the Kozmo monsters, for the Kaijus, you play 3 of any Kaiju you want. Like, to be honest, I'm even testing the new one. That will likely be in the profile after this coming format when I eventually re-update this deck. But, yeah, we have the whole Slumber engine back, and it is great. I love playing this engine again. Summoning any ship, and being able to out things like Inspect Border, which this deck had a hard time dealing with back in the day, was a lot better. One card I'm actually kind of interested in playing more of is Forbidden Chalice in the main. So now that Slumber can out a lot of the stuff that is really more targetable, like Inspect Border, like Boral boards, or just really anything that's not the mirror. This thing helps with your Kaiju, or excuse me, with your Thunder Dragon matchup, because you negate the effects of something and then you can blow it up, so that way they don't get their protection effects. This can also be useful for just poking for more damage, and it can actually be a good thing to open turn 1. So for the rest of the spells, 3 Town, basically just draw power. I mean, you gotta run 3 of this. I'm not certain whether or not I'm gonna run that new pot card. I'm almost leaning toward not, at least in Pure, because you have too much draw power. Like, these 2 cards, like, you're also running in Pure, you're running Desires, but here you're only running this, so you might want to. So I'm actually considering cutting 3 of these for 3 of that new pot card, just so that you don't have to banish a card. So this deck loses to Ash, so you play 3 Call by the Grave. That's basically it. And then for the last 3 staple one-ofs, Regeki Dark Hole, Mercy Teleport. This is any pilot, and these blow up your boards. Well, this one triggers your stuff, so that's it for the main. For the extra deck, it's really just the same. Just generic stuff you want to run. Volcasaurus, Nova, Pleiades, Big Eye, Draco Sack. This is really good. Like, to be honest, I've actually had fields where I actually make this and then extend my field. This being able to remove stuff is just really nice. Exciton Knight, you never make this. You never make this. I've made this once. I've made this twice. I've made this once. You make this off Nova. You make this when your opponent's playing Cyber Dragons. And again, no matter what matchup, Thunder Dragons and Kaiju, or Thunder Dragons and Cyber Dragons are always going to be your hardest matchup. So any new Kozmo players out there, I'm telling you, run this thing. You will be shocked how often it comes up. And then for the last 2 monsters, just 2 generic Link 2s. Phoenix for outing things like Imperial Order or Imperial Iron Wall. And Underclock just for beating over things, push for more damage. That's really it for the deck. In terms of the side deck, I'm not really super certain what you would run, considering your main deck is your side deck. So, for my final thoughts, I want to put in, this is not the most consistent way to play the deck, but it is the most powerful. And what do I mean by this? Basically, what I'm saying is Pure is the most versatile version of the deck, where in the modern format, it is probably the worst. Kaiju Slumber being able to out everything on the field, and if you combo it with something like Impermanence, Valor, or excuse me, not Valor, Impermanence, Skill Drain, or Forbidden Chalice, you can actually out your opponent's Thunder Dragon boards. So running this deck with those cards is probably practical for the side. Pure Kozmo is probably the best build for casual play, like going to locals, you just want to play Kozmo. Or if you're learning the deck, I also recommend just Pure Kozmo. In which, if you want, I can also update that profile in the not too long or distant future. But as for that, that's basically it for the profile. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything you would like to add to the deck that would perhaps make it better, so I would love to hear your suggestions, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.